On this edition of the Lynch List, I'm going to be ranking the top physiques in the UFC. We're talking the fighters that look aesthetically built and fighters that are just in really good shape. We're going to factor in cardio. We're going to factor in strength. There's going to be no bad physiques on this list. It's only the good ones. And I'm going to also list women's MMA fighters as well. And I'm not going off attractiveness. I'm just going off who is like physically very built. We're just sticking it to the UFC. And we're not going who like is the best looking. We're just going with, who aesthetically looks very good here. So we'll start with the A tier. A is obviously the best. We'll go B, C, D. They're all good, but A is obviously the best. And just a quick clarification, there'll be no fighters that used to be in the UFC. So no Sage Northcutt, no Yoel Romero, no Vitor Belfort. Those obviously guys are extremely built well, but they're not going to be on this list just because we're going to stick with fighters that are currently in the UFC right now. I think that makes the most sense. So first on my A list, we're going to start with Michael Chandler, the UFC lightweight, the former title challenger. Look at the guy. Guy's built like a truck, a lot of power, does a lot of workouts and stuff. As far as I know, I could be wrong on this. I believe Michael Chandler does not do any weightlifting, like he does all body weight stuff. So that in itself is impressive. He's got some knockout power. Cardio is a little questionable. But Michael Chandler, we've seen, knockout Dan Hooker, knockout Tony Ferguson. This guy is extremely well built, extremely athletic. He's got to go in our A spot for sure. Next one we're going to go with, again, at the time of recording this, he's the bantamweight champion, Aljamain Sterling. Sterling, look at him, man, extremely well built, does cut a lot of weight, but even when he cuts the weight, he doesn't look drained. He doesn't look like he's unhealthy or anything. Very strong guy, has definitely picked up a lot of opponents and taken them to the ground with that wrestling. Very built guy, and the cardio is great too. We've seen him go 5 rounds a number of times, so Sterling has to be on this list in the A spot. Another one, I don't think this is a surprise and is on most lists, Cyril Gone. How many heavyweights look like Cyril Gone, man? Guy's extremely built. That's the thing too, is that with Cyril Gone, like at heavyweight, most of the heavyweights you see do not look in very good shape. You got like your Roy Nelsons and your, Ben Rothwells and guys that just like, aren't physically like, they don't look like supermodels. Cyril Gone could probably go into modeling if he wanted to. He's a really fit guy, very athletic. That has carried him a lot in his UFC career, is his athleticism and his speed and his power. Gone has to be in the A spot for sure. I don't care what you think of him as a fighter, and obviously he's got a big fight coming up here soon against Sergey Spivak. Cyril Gone has to be on here. There's not many heavyweights that look like Cyril Gone. He's got to be in the A spot for sure. Let's get to the current welterweight champion, Leon Edwards. Hopefully that fight gets booked soon, his next title defense. He's got to be up there as well. Again, he's got that V shape, like really built guy, looking great. Again, very athletic as well. Has the cardio. We saw him, knock out Kamaru Usman in the 5th round in their rematch. This guy, can obviously do it all. Very strong too. Can take a punch. We've seen him get rocked a few times. He's been able to get okay. Yeah, Leon's got to be on here as well. Who wouldn't want to look like Leon Edwards? Very, very built guy. Kind of on the same lines of Cyril Gone, we're going to go with another heavyweight with Jailton Almeida. Again, like you don't see heavyweights that look like that. Just in the history of the UFC, there just aren't that many that look of that nature, that look like physically fit. This guy, Jailton Almeida, looks like a cartoon character. He looks like He-Man. He's huge. So again, another really strong athletic heavyweight guy. You got to put him in the top physique list here as well. Another one that I don't think gets talked enough about is Edson Barbosa. Like the abs, everything. And this guy's fighting at 45. He cuts it. First off, I don't know how he makes 145. Like he's look at this. It looks like there's like 0% body fat on him. Really, really, really built guy. Not the most like muscular in terms of like looking like a bodybuilder, but he's lean, he's fast, and he's still competing at a high level at his age. We just saw his last fight against Billy Quarantillo getting the finish there. Edson Barbosa has to go in the top list as well. And then let's go over to the women's side of things. I think this is an obvious one. You name me many 40-year-old women who look like Holly Holm do. It's amazing. And, she's extremely popular on Instagram and TikTok and all that for a variety of reasons. But a big reason is she is fit, man. I think there's a lot of women, a lot of men out there who would like to look as physically fit as Holly Holm is at her age. She's still doing well at a high level too, still competing. Again, you don't see a lot of women towards that age that are competing at that age. So Holly Holm's got to be on here. She's really fit. She's really strong, and she's got to be on this list for the top women. And then another one that we got to put on here as well, Tisha Torres. She's called the Tornado, but she could be called the Muscle Shark. The abs, the body and everything, like she is extremely fit. She's got really big legs, really strong. We've seen her pick up opponents. And certain fights, she's just looked very dominant here. Again, Torres not going to probably win a title at any point in her UFC career, but still very impressive that she's just physically, she's got to be on here mainly for the aesthetics. Like just physically, she's extremely fit for a woman, looks great. And so she's got to make the A list. Okay, let's get to the B list right now. We're going to start with the current lightweight champion, Islam Makhachev. Again, aesthetically, still pretty, you know, has sort of a great look and all that stuff. But also Islam, very strong. We know he can pick up his opponents. The strength is there. The cardio's there. I debated putting Islam in the A category. I'm certainly here for that argument as well. I just think the only reason it kind of sets him back a little bit is that there's some of these guys that look a little bit more muscular. If you want to go with aesthetics, right? Like kind of looking at the fighter. But yeah, Islam is number one on my B list, but you could easily put him in the A list as well. Obviously very fit. And we'll go with the guy that he last defeated at the time of recording this, Alex Volkanovski. Again, Volk is kind of undersized for his weight class. Like he's small, but he's built like an absolute shark. Like this guy can, you know, we've seen him. I mean, move up a weight class and you fight Islam, and he looked quite good in that fight. Even though he lost, he looked great. We saw the last fight with Yair Rodriguez. He's strong. He's fast. I mean, who wouldn't want to look like Volk? Maybe probably would want to be a little bit taller, but still Volk is, you know, very athletic and gifted fighter as well. Got to give some props to Volkanovski. Let's keep going down the list here. We'll go to the women again. We'll go to Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate, you know, all the credit to her. She's had, what, 2 kids and still looks amazing, still looks physically fit. I saw her at the Hall of Fame this year on the red carpet. She's very athletic. And, you know, maybe fight-wise, it's not in her prime anymore, but this is a former UFC champion. You have to put her up there pretty high. The wrestling for years was very dominant for her. She got the win over this girl right here, Holly Holm, who we see at the top. Miesha Tate's got to go on here as well. Again, she's still got abs popping out here at her age. She's looking great, so Miesha Tate's got to be on the list as well. Someone I also don't see get enough love as far as physique. Look at Jared Cannonier. And you know what? This isn't even, I don't think, an updated photo. Look how built he looked in his fight against Marvin Vettori, and that was a dominant performance over Vettori as well. Cannonier is definitely one of the most strongest, is one of the strongest middleweights in the division. And also, he is a guy that is, you know, getting close to 40, and he's still looking like a Greek god at this point. So Cannonier's got to get on here as well. Not to mention the knockout power. Cannonier definitely has to be on this list. Another woman we're going to go to right now, Valentina Shevchenko. Got to put her on as well. You know, the thing with Shevchenko, I mean, you could put her in the number 1 spot as well. I mean, we've seen a variety of finishes, the head kick knockouts, the flashiness. She's obviously very, very built as well. Maybe not as proportionate as some of the other women and stuff, but like I'd say Holm aesthetically looks more fit than Valentina. But Valentina's been a champion for a while, hoping to get her title back coming up here in September. But Valentina's got to be near the top of this list as well. So she's up here too. And by the way, when I put this order up here on here, that doesn't mean like Chandler's the most built out of anyone. I'm just putting, these are in my opinion, A caliber physiques. B is right here. That's sort of what I'm going with. And someone else that's obviously very fit as well, Angela Hill. You know, again, maybe not the greatest UFC record, pretty good cardio, you know, but just aesthetically, very, very, very fit woman. I mean, there's a lot of women who'd like to look like her. So Angela Hill's going to be up there as well. Let's get to the C category right now. Charles Oliveira, again, a little bit leaner, but, you know, built very well, very fast, good fighter, you know, great lightweight, former lightweight champion. We'll see what he does in the rematch with Islam as it's coming up here. But Oliveira's got to get in there too. Again, like, you know, physique wise, big guy, can make the weight. And, you know, again, physical wise, looks great. Let's keep going through this list. So Charles Oliveira there. We're going to go Armin Sarukin as well. For me, it was well Armin gets on this list as well. Is like, again, maybe physically not the most like imposing guys like a Chandler or like an Edson Barbosa or something like that, muscular wise. But to me, what puts Armin on here is just his quickness, and the fact, like, you go watch that fight he had with Mateusz Gamrot, like how quickly he's changing moves and stuff. He's got to be up there as well. If Armin looked a little bit more like physically imposing, he would probably be higher on this list, because I think athletically he's got to be one of the top guys on this list. Like, there are a few guys as athletic as Armin Sarukin. He definitely has to be put in that category too. Another guy I will add here on I should say, is we're going to put Rafael Fiziev. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change this. I'm going to put Fiziev almost in the top, in the B spot here instead of the C spot. And the reason is Fiziev, like, physically looks like absolutely built. You've seen that he's got big legs, big, strong, muscular guy. The cardio has been a bit of a question sometimes, although, I mean, this is a guy that got a 5th round finish over Rafael dos Anjos. I would almost be tempted to put him in the top spot, but Fiziev, again, very physically imposing, big guy, lots of power. We've seen the knockouts. He's got to be on this list as well, so I'll put him more in the B category. And then let's get to some more in the in the category of the C category. We'll go with Michelle Waterson. Again, not a great UFC record overall, but again, a little bit of an older fighter, still looking great at her age. Physically very great. She was on the Challenge, if you remember, a couple years ago. Very, very fit fighter. And again, mom as well, looking great. So Michelle Waterson's got to be on this list too. And then let's get to some of the remaining ones as well. We've got actually had Volk on here twice. Didn't mean to do that. We'll go with 3 others. They'll go in our D category here as well. Amanda Ribas, you know, really fit fighter. You know, we've seen her, you know, again, has some, you know, pretty impressive victories as well. Has a win over Mackenzie Dern. You know, coming off a tough loss in her last fight to Macy Barber. But if you just look at her physically, aesthetically, she has to make this list because she is one of the most fit looking fighters. Skill wise, she's got to be at the bottom of this list just because all the fighters here, I would argue, are potentially better. And the same thing goes with Jinyu Frey. Not sure how you say it. Not a great UFC record, but like aesthetically, she's got to be up there too. Really muscular, like a girl that like looks like she could play like Xena the Warrior Princess if they ever remade that movie. Like she looks absolutely built like a truck. So in a good way. Again, I'm not trying to say that any of these women are butch or anything like that. I don't want people coming after me here. I'm just saying, you know, aesthetically, if we're looking at her, she's very built as a fighter. And I would put Andrea Lee in that same list as well. Andrea Lee actually going to be fighting this weekend at the time I'm recording this, but go look at Andrea Lee. Very muscular, you know, cuts a decent amount of weight, but looks good on the scale. Again, aesthetically, very good with that too. So yeah, there is my tier list of best physiques. Again, people have been asking me to do this one. I've seen other people kind of do their own version of it. There's a bunch of fighters I'm sure I'm missing. I'd have to dig through the roster and really look through, but I kind of went with fighters that just came to mind, and then I tried to divide it up how I can. So I don't want people coming after me and saying, oh, you know, this is the wrong list or whatever. Like, this is all subjective. This is just my opinion on who I think looks the best. So we're going to go with that. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Were there any fighters that I missed that maybe you thought that I should have included on here? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you guys think in terms of my list and how I put it together. And if there's any other tier lists you guys want me to do, let me know in the comments. Always open to hearing your feedback and everything else. So really appreciate you tuning into this one. My name is James Lynch. I'll see you next time, and thanks so much for watching.